Okay, time to build myself some Eldari Guardians. Now, I've decided to build these as the Storm Guardians, so you can follow the normal instructions and build them as Guardians with these kind of Shuriken Catapult, I think they're called, but I'm going to use the Shuriken Pistols and the different types of sword that you can use with them. So I just think that's going to be just different, basically. So I'm kind of putting something different together. You know, you've got the instructions for the normal Guardians, so why not do something different? There's quite a lot to these kits as well. They're very complex, so I think it's possibly a good idea if I split this into two different videos. One first showing you how to put the core bodies together, and then another one for dealing with basically weapon options and how to put them together. I just suspect that building 10 Guardians is going to be a bit of a long process. So what we have to do to begin with is just get our bodies. So the bodies are actually universal, so it doesn't matter what bodies we start with, whether we're doing Guardians or Storm Guardians, well, Guardian Defenders or Storm Guardians, the bodies are universal. When I did my initial look at this kit, when I reviewed the magazine, I probably wrongly assumed that the close combat version was something like a striking scorpion, particularly because of the plumage. My glue's decided to dry up. Basically because of the plumes on the head, but I wasn't certain of that, and I'm definitely wrong about that. This is actually a different set of Aeldari. It's great that you can do them like this because you can potentially almost create a fully hand-to-hand Aeldari squad. So that's how simple these are to put together. I'll get 39 and 40 out now when I can find them. For the most part, they seem to be very straightforward. But I would also point out that I'm pretty certain these are what you might call newer Games Workshop kits. So made within the last few years. I think the spruce says 2022 there, which means that what we're heading for, get this right, is, you know, we can get some very complicated ways that the miniatures go together, unfortunately. And it's strange how some Games Workshop kits, and I can't quite explain why this is. Why is my glue not coming? Glue's just not wanting to flow today. Yeah, some Games Workshop kits give you no choices whatsoever, some of the new ones. Like, you're literally stuck with, you know, pretty much one weapon set. I think the Primaris Marines are definitely a culprit there. But when it comes to 59 and 60, when it comes to some other factions, their options are insane. Now, I have a suspicion why that is, okay? I think some factions are less popular than others. So, although most people would say, you look at the Aeldari aesthetic and they are beautiful, not everyone has the love of actually playing them. Now, let's kind of flip that, look at Primaris Marines, and any kind of Space Marine, really. they will sell no matter what. There is no doubt about it. There is a reason that if you go online and look up pro painted, any kind of pro painted Citadel stuff, Games Workshop stuff, the ones that really sell are Space Marines, and you know, tanks for Imperial Guard are frequently a big seller. So what I think is, it's just, there's no advantage to Games Workshop making a multi-part kit. It's best in many cases just to basically give you what you're getting. You know, basically say, well, this is it. This is your, you know, this is your Space Marines. This is what they look like. This is how they field. You gain no advantage. Games Workshop, you know, doesn't get any advantage with a multi-part kit because they know people will just buy them. 61 and 62. So I think that's why you tend to find that Primaris Space Marines in particular are one thing and one thing only, with only minor choice options like changing the head. And that makes perfect sense to me. Horus Heresy, on the other hand, very versatile Space Marine kits. Why is that? Because they're aiming at a different market. They're aiming at older gamers. People who've been with the hobby for a long time, who maybe don't like the direction that the 40k is taken. They don't like the rule set. They don't like the way that the law's changing. So they prefer to stay in the Horus Heresy. They're older gamers. They want more freedom. They, you know, they don't need hand holding through the hobby. So they make their kits, although, you know, there's a certain amount of monoposing to them, it still doesn't matter because you've got a lot of weapon choices, a lot of upgrade sprues that you can buy. And I think that's why they do it. So with these things like the Aeldari, 52 and 53, they have to be able to entice people to buy them. And I have no doubt whatsoever, they know that it's usually more mature hobbyists who still like 40k, who still like the lore behind it, who still enjoy playing it, are likely to get it and want those choices. That's my opinion. You're free to get to gay, but I'm reasonably confident on the money there. Keep saying to myself, what I should do when I'm making videos is I should come up with what my topic for the day is going to be so that I don't waffle off into different subjects. Yeah, then I can actually clearly write, hey, this is the subject you'll hear about while I'm building these models. So we've got some very, you know, cool things going on with these Aeldari Guardians. We do have the ability to use different weapon options, which is what we want, and that's the point I was trying to make, although I got there in a long way round. I took the long way round to get to that point, didn't I? But I hope you can understand that that's the kind of the point that I'm trying to make here. Right, so what I'll do is I'll just keep on building these bodies up. So 74 and 75. I think this is the thing now, we're getting into more complex bodies. Pretty certain that's 76 as well. Yeah, so I definitely think you'll find more freedom and more options on Xeno races for the most part. However, you know, that's not always the case. I picked up some orcs from a combat patrol. They didn't seem to have a lot of freedom, but, you know, again, I think orcs frequently appeal to a younger audience, without a doubt. I think some of the basic kits, like the orc boys, you know, I think they always used to appeal to my younger self, I still love orcs, I still would collect them, I still do have an orc force, and I'm keeping the orcs from combat patrol no matter what happens. But yeah, I definitely think you can start to tell which kits are aimed at age groups, maturity levels, things like that, just kind of based upon their aesthetic. And of course, aesthetic and how easy they are to put together. These are a pain. Look at that. Look at this leg. It's going to be difficult on me, isn't it? It's going to be like fighting me right the way along. Gosh, just go on, man. Yeah, man, this one. There we go. All right. Oh my goodness. Hey, I can particularly feel that my office is boiling today as well. I think the sun's just hitting it, so I'm not having a nice time. Right, 68. And 69. Be careful with these Aeldari as well, because they're very curved models. You've got to be very careful about like cleaning up the sprues, because you've got to, you know, that's why a scraping tool like this with a curved side as well as a flat side is absolutely essential. Okay, 77 here. 78 and 79. Oh gosh, I have to admit, I hate it when a particular model has so many parts on the legs. It just makes them so much harder to put together, without a doubt. Like I'm twisting my back out today as well. I think I'm going to make my part 1 video, and then I'm going to have to give myself a little bit of a break before I go on to the next part. Heat me, unfortunately, the joys of having long-term chronic illness. It's not than just about back pain, it's the everything. Bodies. Oh, so many bodies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got this one on this sprue left to do, which is 92, 93, 91. Kind of trying to be mindful that I don't want this video to be too long, but I don't want to cut it off too early, because I really want to make sure that I've finished doing everything I need to do with the main body parts. And you'll notice that I'm kind of building a body with the legs, then putting it to one side. Get the body out before I move on to doing the heads, and that's because I don't know these models, but I know models like them with that are this thin in build, and with this kind of thinness of build, you've got to let them dry before you start adding any other sections to them. It's just the way it is. So you've got to give them a good opportunity to settle. Otherwise you're just going to end up weird things falling off. There's no other way to put it. Come on, hold to the base, do as you're told. Stay. Right, I think we are, this is the thing, for some reason, like, you've got one last one over here. Now I assume this one's over here because this is for the actual support weapon, the frame. I could be wrong about that, it might just not have fit on the other sprue and that's why it's over here, but we'll find that out a bit later on, won't we? So we've got 94, 95 and 96 here. Fingers are going off. I fear that my shakes are starting to happen. Gosh. Don't like self-diagnosing, so I don't want to pretend to know why my hands are shaking so often and so much anymore. But I have suspicions, and so does my doctor. I don't know. I don't like using. I don't mind like sort of saying that I have long-term health problems, but I don't want my channel to be all about it, or feel like I'm trying to get pity. Got no time for that. I got no time for that kind of nonsense. I mean, I'm not disparaging people who are brave enough to share it like publicly and show every single little struggle, but it's not what I want my channel to be about. But if I do get a formal diagnosis of anything, I'll probably share it. But during a sort of a generic, while I'm doing something else. Oh, come on, go on. Shit, I'm gonna have to pause the video in a second and wait till my shakes have gone off. Let me just put this guy down. This gal. No, guy. Oh, come on. Stop shaking. Please stop shaking. If you stop shaking, I'll bribe you with coffee in a second. Right, okay, that's the core bodies done. I'm going to pause my video for a little bit before I start doing the back of the bodies and the heads. Right, okay, so I think our next core decision really is deciding on backs. So we've got a range of backs here. To be quite honest, there's two different versions as I understand it, number 1 and number 2. With a separate number 3, which I think is for the Guardian who's controlling the support weapon. I'm pretty certain that that's what that one is. So since I probably am going to be having that support, though it's not going to be a weapon, it's going to be the shield generator. I think that's what it is anyway, reading up on the fluff, reading up on the description of Storm Guardians. Pretty certain that that's what that is. So honestly, there's very, very little difference between the two backs, if I'm quite honest about it. I can't see much of a... Oh yes, there is. Like, so basically this one has like a little kind of ruffled area, like whereas, hang on, yeah, this one's like flat, whereas this one's curved, and that looks like the difference is like the whatever those little antennae are, that looks like the big difference. There is a slight change in shape. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, including the back, the one with the slight alteration. I went 9 for this one. I think it's worth me checking if there's any other kind of these backpacks anywhere, just to, you know, just to see if there's any other differences. So I don't see any on that sprue or that sprue. So it looks like this is our complete setup. Right. Oh, I'm going to hate tidying these up. These are going to be a slow process, aren't they? And plain and simply, they just kind of clip glue, to be precise, onto there. Now, I'm just going to do a quick check as well, because you do have that slightly different backpack. There's nothing on the instructions that's kind of shouting out about using it. It's quite clear. So yeah, yeah, actually there is a bit of an instruction about how to do it. So what it looks like to me, looking at this, is you've got a choice between this one and this one. So this tall one is, by my estimation, our, you know, for the controller for the support device. So it's quite clear that if we're going to have a support weapon, we're going to have to use this. And then we're going to have to choose one who's going to be useful as a controller. So it probably should be someone who feels like they're standing quite solid. There we go. I'm going to pop this on the female one of the female forms. And that's it now. I've just got to get the rest put together. What am I doing? Why am I scraping that? I've already scraped that. Get in there. Oh, my hand, please stop shaking. Yeah, almost done. Once I've got these bodies all put together, that's where I'll stop it, because then my next video will be very specifically about how to create the Storm Guardians. I think it kind of makes sense to do it that way. Show everyone how to build a general body and then go from there. Okay. And with that, we should have 10 Guardian bodies, which we can then use for either Storm Guardians or Guardian Defenders. But I will deal with the actual weapon options in the next video. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.